Hello my friends, welcome to the metal shop. Today we're getting ready to drill the front of the body here for the quick jacks or the bumperettes, whatever you want to call them. So according to the instructions, again, hardly scientific, we're to measure 2 inches from this opening, which is hard to do because it's a curve, 2 inches from this opening and draw a perpendicular line. Then with a level taped matching the opening here in the car, we measure up 3.5 inches and then another 2.25 inches. But again, it's not really an exact science because this is where exactly is this supposed to be level to. This slopes up, again, it's on a curve. So I've got the marks where I think they need to be, and if you look behind, they're going to catch this plate here, which is where they, those little bumperettes, whatever, the quick jacks, that's where they bolt through. On the street piece, they bolt through to there. So I'm just going to double, quadruple, triple check, make sure my marks when they go through are going to end up, and this is slotted, it is adjustable a little bit, but why do I really want to adjust that? I mean, you want that kind of centered when I can adjust these holes just a little bit and see all my marks in there. Like I said, again, with everything, this isn't super scientific. The sun's washing that out over there. And drilling on the bias, kind of drilling a straight hole through an angle of fiberglass, you're going to get smoke, you might smolder, you might even get a little bit of sparks and a little bit of flame. That thing's going to get so hot. So we're definitely going to take our time. But that's what we're doing right now. And there, just real quickly, that's what they give you in the instructions. Like I said, hardly scientific. And there's what we're going to do after we get the holes drilled. All right. Let's get some fiberglass dust flying. All right, so I'll try and do this with one hand and not mess this up. Using this nice brad point bits. These are much nicer for drilling the fiberglass. So what we're going to do, and yes, I am going to drill just slightly above my mark because I decided I didn't like where I had the level placed. So I'm going up just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here on an angle like this just to score the gel coat. We're through with the gel coat, and then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to turn and drill the hole on the bias. Take my time, and there. We got all 4 holes drilled, and then we're going to attack them with the hole saw. Love the fiberglass dust. Proper footwear, safety first. Sorry, safety third. So the technique is very much the same as for just drilling the regular hole. This side is already done here. You'll see they come in as ovals. And honestly, with these brand new Lennox hole saws, I didn't have any problems at all. Generated quite a bit of heat. You'll see it melted the paint off. But I watched, the excellent Pete's Garage videos. He had lots of problems drilling his holes. Smoke and, nearly flames and everything else. And I know what it was. When I drilled the roll bar, I had a lot of issues. And it's because I had, a hole saw for wood, and it was a little on the older side. And it did not like drilling on the angle like that. And I thought I was going to set the fiberglass on fire, if that's even possible. But a nice brand, and this is a brand new 1.25 bit. I bought just for this project, and hopefully I can get a hole drilled here and hold the camera without messing this up, because this is precision. Nice, sharp, brand new Lennox. So we're gonna come in like this just to get started, and then we're gonna transition to this to get our oval. Again, this is covered with a grommet, and it is oversized, but you still want it to be, precise. So here we go. Just like that, my friends. Just like that. One more hole to drill, and probably maybe my blade's getting a little hot or a little dull. This one was a little bit harder to cut than the other ones over here. And I'm not sure if this one, that's perfect. I like that a little better. It's not quite as oval as the other ones. And these Lennox bits are awesome too. They have a slot in them, and they didn't give me anything to say this. They're just great product. They have a slot in them so you can jab a tool in there and you can get your little puck out after the fact. And that's exactly the same size. This one came from the other side, so it is exactly the same. Let's get one more hole drilled. Cool. Since we were on the topic of the front bumpers, the bumperettes or the quick jacks, whatever you wish to call them, I thought I'd do just the tiniest little bit of history lessons on the Cobra here. If you look here, this is what they supply you with the car. And this is a nice piece, you know, mounts on here like this. Now, the problem with that is that's all they give you. They give you 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back. No car, no production car, no semi-competition car came with just those mounted. What these were for was this was when you mounted this little bumperette on either side, and it had the round grill opening. Those were for the street cars when you got the entire nice chrome assembly. And then in the back, they had something very similar. It was much smaller. It didn't, you know, wasn't the same as the opening that went across like this. Little bumper guard. So no car, no production car, no semi-competition car came with just that. Of course, you could have that on your car. You could take the little bumper piece off and have just that. But to me, mounting just these on the car makes it looks like a fake. It's like, it just doesn't look right. 260 street cars were made with the 427. 260 street cars, you know, no side exhaust, no roll bars, full bumpers like this, no quick jacks. There's a whole host of differences. Anyway, I'm going to run these quick jacks, and these are really nice. I got these, I believe these are from Shell Valley, maybe Finish Line. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Super nice, high quality, powder coated black. And I kind of can't figure out why Street Beast didn't provide these. They're more accurate, and they would have to be cheaper than these parts, which are pretty nice. I mean, Street Beast does give you some nice parts are included in their kit. These are much nicer. Now, these were included on the semi-competition cars, the SCs. They only made 31 SCs. That's it, 31. And they made 260 production cars, you know, for the street. Now, the problems are, of course, you have tons of replicas today. And what you had was, even back in the 60s and 70s, you'd have guys who bought street cars who preferred the look of the SC cars and can easily convert their Cobra, add side pipes, add a roll bar, add the quick jacks, whatever. So it really skews the number. But 31 original cars made, and these things are really cool. And what they are, when I say quick jack, is Shelby had an apparatus that you could slide underneath that quick jack, and one guy or maybe 2 guys could lift the entire car off the ground. And I'll try and insert a picture here. Of that quick jack assembly. There's 1 or 2 known pictures in existence, but what I can show you is how it worked. Is here, if you look up in my rafters, and you guys, that's for a motorcycle. And you see those little jaws, those little pivots there, and what those do is they grab the back of the motorcycle and with leverage just lift it up, lift your rear tire up in the air so that you can work on it. These are, you know, these are for our old street bike that I used to have. Now they just hang there collecting dust and hold my Explorer Sport grills up there. But anyway, quick little history lesson on the Shelby Cobras and some SC versus, and I am going to do a video at some point showing the differences between the production cars. They had rear exit exhaust, so on and so forth. They had ashtrays. I'm going to do a full video showing the differences in those cars. Anyway, let's get to drilling the holes in the back for the rear quick jack. All right, so we're at the back of the car, and honestly, it took about 35 minutes to get the measurements, and it's going to take, 2 minutes, 4 minutes to drill. And what they want you to do is they want you to find the center line on the body, which is not easy because, again, you have, it's a curve. Did the best I could and came up to be right there. So then what I did is I thought, oh, I'm smart. I'm going to go underneath here, see if we can see it, and see the frame, because I knew the body, I had to take this body and move it from side to side to get the tire gap right. So I'm like, the body might not be the best spot to take the measurement because these marks we're drilling, we're trying to land on the frame. So I measured half of the frame. The frame is 34 inches. I measured 17, made a mark, and it came out pretty close to there. I kind of split the difference. You go 16 inches to either side, draw a perpendicular line, and then another scientific measurement. We go halfway through the tail light and measure down from there. So again, we're crediting that the tail light is measured perfectly and whatever. And you measure down your 3 1/4 inches, another 5 1/2 inches, which gives you your 2 1/4 inch spacing. And I did check the quick jacks, which did not come with the car, and the holes are 2 1/4 inch spaced, just like those awful bumper guards that they did send with it. So nothing really to it here, because this is nice and straight. Should be easy peasy. We're going to drill with the brad point bit, 4 pilot holes, and then we're going to drill the 4 holes with the hole saw. Like I said, should be easy. Famous last words. So, famous last words. Easy peasy. When I took the measurement off the taillight mounting surface of half, I measured halfway through the taillight. You'll see what I did. That taillight is bigger on the top section than on the bottom section. I took that as half. It's not. I tried to, so I drilled this first hole here. The one on the top is the mistake. It's right into the trunk liner. And I'm like, the directions aren't clear, but it's pretty obvious that they want 1 hole above the trunk floor, 1 hole below the trunk floor. So I actually removed the tail lights. Previous owner had nicely made marks. He had installed these tail lights. His marks were hyper accurate. I checked them 100 ways till Sunday, put the line down, nearly 1/4 inch. And I shouldn't have even, I scored this a little bit with the hole saw just to make sure that that hole was going to be covered. I probably shouldn't have even done that, because just in case I have to move these, now I've got fiberglass work to do. I was just sitting here whittling away, and I did not do this side, but this one I remeasured. Half in the taillight again, again, not really scientific. All right, well, I got all my interior measurements made to their exacting specifications, which are really just kind of wing it. You use a screwdriver through the hole to mark your center line. You draw your center line, and they want you to trace the cover. Of course, the cover doesn't fit flush up against the wall because the wall isn't perpendicular. It's a big gap there. So realistically, what we need to do is sand down, file down the cover on an angle like this so it will fit flush up against it, because this is going to be exposed to the outside world. So you want it to fit tightly. So we'll have to address that after the fact. So you trace the outside of the cover, trace the inside of the cover, which it's about 1 1/4 inch lip. I just made a bunch of marks, 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 all the way around, and kind of freehanded that. Then they want you to draw a box off that line. They want you to measure 1 1/2 inch, then 5 1/4, 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4, and you'll have a 2 1/2 inch box. Wait, no, that's what the directions say. Measure 1 1/2 inch, measure 4 inches, 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4, and you'll have that 2 1/2 inch box. So it's wrong in the directions. And if you look at that right there, 1 1/2 inch, 5 1/4, wrong. And even in the diagram, it shows that. 1.5 inches, 5 1/4. And it's funny because the box they show is clearly a rectangle as well. Wrong. Anyway, so I'm going to try and cut this with a Dremel. I only have 2 blades. Realistically, I can't use the body saw here because this is right on top of the frame. So I really have to use a small grinder like this to cut that hole out. So I'm going to give it a cut and join me, see how we do. What's wrong isn't the going up 5 1/4, it's that you're going to end up with a 2.5 inch hole. I had to move this up to the 5 1/4 mark in order for this to properly seat on the frame. So the hole really needs to be up 3 inches. You make your mark 3 inches, then 5 1/4, and that will give you, or sorry, 5 1/4, 3 inches back, whatever. I mean, I'll show you over here. That's what they tell you to cut right there. And if you give me 1 second, I'm going to mark out what we really need to cut. See that? The shaded portion, sorry, focus, is where they tell you to cut. Shaded. What we're really going to cut is from this line here up to here. All this. Well, at least I get one side right. Difficult to cut with the Dremel, but is what it is. So let's get to cutting over here. So this side came out much better, the hole. Kind of custom made it to the specifications it always should have been. And curiously, we kind of didn't miss, but it's off center. Now the hole out here is where it needs to be, but thankfully there's a gap in the trunk floor so I can slide this underneath it. Yeah, there we go. Underneath it, and I can put it kind of right on the corner, and it will catch. The top bolt catches right there. What I'm going to end up doing is this hole over here. It's a little bit too big, so I'll cut out a piece of this. Probably on both sides, actually. I'll cut out a small piece of this fiberglass, and I'll glue it in from underneath with a bigger piece of fiberglass here. So there's just a very small slot, like they tell you to do with the holes for the roll bar, etc. All right, like so. There it is. There it is. Okay, top bolt goes in here. Second bolt, the head slides in here from the side and with a big washer and goes out this way. So this here, this section here represents the frame. That's how you do it. So one blade on the Dremel did the trick. Look at that. Not too shabby. All right, my friends. Well, we're off at an undisclosed location where I do my editing. Decided that at nearly 20 minutes, that video is long enough, and I'm gonna have to make a second part where I am actually attaching the quick jack little bumperettes and their the little mounts for them. So I will do that in another part, attaching both the front and the rear bumperettes. So as always, my friends, thanks for watching. I sincerely appreciate your support. Please give me a like. If you're new to the channel, give me a subscribe. Share my videos with your friends. If you've got your own YouTube channel, please give me a link. All right, my friends, take care. Bye-bye.